Analyzing Kamala Harris's 2024 presidential election defeat. The 2024 presidential election is over, and Kamala Harris has lost. But why? What led to her downfall? Before we dive deep into this explosive breakdown, hit that subscribe button. At CrimeChrono, we analyze the world's biggest events, from political power plays to history's darkest chapters. Subscribe now so you don't miss any of it. Let's get into it. Kamala Harris's defeat wasn't just a loss, it was a message. Voters rejected her vision, her leadership, and perhaps even the Democratic Party itself. But what caused this collapse? Was it her policies, her public perception, or was this an election she was destined to lose from the start? This isn't just politics, this is history being written, and we're here to break it down. Kamala Harris's critics have long said she suffers from what they call a likability problem. Fair or not, this perception stuck, and it became one of the major hurdles of her campaign. Over-polished, under-relatable. Harris often came across as overly scripted, detached, and lacking the relatability voters crave. While Joe Biden's folksy persona resonated in 2020, Harris struggled to forge that same connection. Her sharp intellect and prosecutorial style, her strengths, sometimes felt like liabilities in a campaign that demanded warmth over precision. A divisive candidate. Let's not mince words. Harris faced sharp criticisms from both the right and left. The GOP attacked her as a symbol of radical liberalism, while progressives accused her of being too moderate. She ended up alienating both ends of the spectrum, leaving her stuck in the political no-man's land. Harris's campaign failed to define a compelling narrative. Elections are about storytelling, and hers was muddled from the start. Lack of vision. What did Kamala Harris stand for? That question haunted her campaign. While she championed important causes, climate change, reproductive rights, and economic reform, she failed to articulate a unifying vision that resonated with voters. Ineffective messaging. Her campaign's messaging often felt reactive rather than proactive. Instead of controlling the narrative, Harris seemed to be constantly playing defense, whether it was addressing concerns about her tenure as vice president or responding to GOP attacks on inflation, crime, and border security. Harris's candidacy couldn't escape the shadow of the Biden presidency. A polarizing legacy. The Biden administration's accomplishments, like infrastructure spending and healthcare reforms, were overshadowed by polarizing issues like rising inflation, the chaotic Afghanistan withdrawal, and ongoing immigration crises. Harris, as Biden's vice president, bore the brunt of these criticisms. Fair or not, voters saw her as a continuation of Biden's policies rather than a fresh start. The debate fiasco. Harris's debate performances became viral moments for all the wrong reasons. Whether it was an awkward laugh at a tough question or a clumsy retort to a GOP challenger, these moments damaged her credibility. Policy misalignments. Her stance on key issues like student debt relief, Medicare expansion, and climate change failed to energize the Democratic base. Younger voters, in particular, felt that her policies didn't go far enough, leading to lower turnout in key states. Kamala Harris wasn't just fighting her own weaknesses, she was up against a resurgent Republican Party. Trump's comeback. Donald Trump, or any strong GOP candidate, capitalized on the growing frustration with the Democratic Party. They seized on issues like inflation, crime rates, and border security to rally their base and flip swing states. Independent voters. Independents, who often decide elections, swung right this time. Many cited economic concerns and dissatisfaction with the direction of the country as reasons for rejecting Harris. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, the media. Relentless scrutiny. From her laugh to her past as California's Attorney General, Harris faced relentless scrutiny. While some of this was rooted in legitimate policy critiques, much of it veered into biased territory, fueled by sexist and racist undertones. Social media wars. In the age of TikTok and Twitter, Harris struggled to control her digital image. Negative narratives spread faster than her campaign could counter them, especially among younger voters. Finally, we need to address identity politics. Kamala Harris made history as the first woman of color to be elected vice president. But in 2024, her identity became both a strength and a weapon used against her. Weaponized by opponents. The GOP painted Harris as a symbol of woke politics, using her identity to stoke fears about liberal overreach. This messaging resonated with conservative and swing voters alike. A divided base. While many celebrated her historic candidacy, others within her own party questioned whether her identity was being prioritized over her policies. This internal division weakened her campaign. Kamala Harris's loss in the 2024 election wasn't due to one single factor. It was a perfect storm of missteps, systemic challenges, and fierce opposition. Whether you see her as a trailblazer or a flawed candidate, her defeat will go down as one of the most significant political stories of our time. What do you think? Was Harris's loss inevitable, or could she have turned the tide? Let me know in the comments below. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe to CrimeChrono for more raw, unfiltered takes on the world's biggest events. Let's uncover the truth together. Subscribe now.